Hello and welcome back to the channel. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for watching my videos and subscribing. We've recently broken the 500 subscriber mark, which is a small change compared to many other YouTubers out there, but I've been doing this for just about a year now, and we seem to be having some growth. So thank you if you've watched my videos and subscribed and so on. Please keep going. I'm still aiming for my first 1,000 subscribers, so please continue to watch and subscribe, and I still need 4,000 watch hours, blah blah blah, to monetize my videos. But anyway, with that out of the way, what are we looking at today? Well, in the past few months I've done a bunch of videos on the Line 6 Helix, and we're continuing in that vein today, where I'm going to talk about the 5 things I love about the Line 6 Helix. So I've tried to keep my choices to specifically about the Helix and not just digital modelling in general. I have used some other ones before, not as extensively as the Helix, but I've tried to use that experience to try and be very specific as to why I love these 5 things about the Helix in particular. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing I love about the Helix is its general ease of use. So I've got here a blank canvas, so if you wanted to create something new, this is how you do it, this is how easy it is. After a couple of times of doing this, it all becomes quite straightforward and automatic. So first of all, you might want to add, in fact usually what I first do is I like to join these 2 lines. These are two lines of DSP. I like to connect them, that's the first thing I like to do. So I'll join it onto path 2A. So now that's one line, or these 2 lines are now connected. So I have double the amount of DSP. Let's stick to this line. I'll put the amp back here somewhere, so that would be what? 1, 2, 3, about 4 blocks in. I want to add an amp. I've got the option of amp and cab, amp, preamp, cab. Let's do a guitar amp. I'm not sure which one yet. Let's say we got archetype clean, and then I'll know to add the cab, although to be honest I can't remember what cab it was on the archetype clean. Right, so we've got the archetype clean channel, just the amp only. Let's add the cab as well. I'll know it when I see it. You can pick whatever cab you want. There we go. So far it sounds like this. And I usually like to add some kind of reverb at the end, just because I just like a bit of reverb. And if you've seen any of my other videos, my reverb of choice, at least to start off with, is a bit of room reverb. And I usually bring the mix down to about 34%. In fact, here it is with. So it just sounds more like it's in a room, like it's not just the direct signal going into your ears. Yeah, so it shouldn't be too noticeable. You'll notice it when you turn it off. So if I did want to turn off the reverb, or any block really, there's a bypass button here. If I press this, it's turned the reverb off. So if there's any effects I want to turn on and off quickly, I can just bypass and turn off the effect or turn it back on again. And as you've seen, adding blocks is quite easy. So if I wanted to add, say, I don't know, a delay here, let's go to delay. Do I want mono delay? Maybe I want a stereo delay. I'll pick one, just go simple delay. And I can adjust as necessary along here. Then I can select it. And I might think, you know what? I don't like that delay, or at least I don't want to use it for the moment. I want to turn it off. I can bypass it. Right, so maybe I want to change the amp settings. So I could navigate along to try and find where my amp block is, or I could just press this amp button here, and it takes me directly to the amp, and I can just adjust the amp settings as I see fit. If I happen to be in, say, my delay settings, or if I happen to be, let's go somewhere a bit more exotic. Let's say I'm here in Command Center. Now, I'm not an expert on this Command Center setting, but let's say I've just got a Helix. I found myself here, and I'm thinking I don't know what to do with this yet. I want to get back home. There is a home button here, so wherever you are, you can press home, and it takes you back to this view here, something that you'll become very familiar with. So, if in doubt, go home. Oh, I want to go and change my amp settings. There we go. Adjust as necessary. Which brings us on to my second favourite thing about the Helix. So my second favourite thing that I love about the Helix is the use of these capacitive touch buttons. So I've currently got this in stomp box mode. Let's say I want to add, at the beginning, maybe a tube screamer. Or let's say a minor tool, which is the clon, only because it's right there. So there it is, and here it is. Here's what it sounds like. I can bypass it like we did earlier. But now I want to assign it to the foot switch, because obviously when I use this live, I'll be stepping on this. Let's say I want to assign the clon to this one here. So I just want to make sure that I've highlighted the right effect. And all I need to do is just touch the button. Don't need to press it, just need to touch it. Assign foot switch to bypass select block. Yes, I want to do that. Let's do that again. Okay. And you'll find that it's now assigned to this button here, which I can turn on or turn off. Let's do a couple more of these. Let's take this delay that we had earlier on, and I want to assign it to, say, this one here. Done. I can turn that on and off. And off. Now I want to go back to my clon. It's here. All I need to do now is just touch the side of it again, and it automatically goes there, and I can adjust as necessary. Oh, actually, I want to change something in my delay. Same thing. Just touch it, and you can get to it easily. And obviously, if you've got 8 effects blocks that you can play with, then you can do that with all of them. So I find the capacitive touch feature is just a really nice, quick way of editing different effects that you might have, effects blocks. I've only put on 2 at the moment, but you can put on as many as you can fit on there. So for someone like me, and I'm sure for a lot of you out there as well, you want to make the editing process as quick as possible, especially if you've got something set up already. You want to do one quick edit. I want to quickly change that delay to whatever, turn the trails on. Done. I want to turn the gain up a bit on my clon. Done. Delay, need to turn it back down again, level down, mix down, whatever. Cool, and I can just toggle between different effects really quickly by just touching them. So if you're one of those players who likes to play barefoot, this might not be the best feature for you. You can turn it off if you don't like it for whatever reason. Maybe if you accidentally kind of touch it with your hand when you're doing something else and it becomes a bit too annoying, you can turn it off in here as well if you prefer to do that. So number 3 in the list of things I love about the Helix is snapshots. So we've looked at snapshots before. Let's go to another bank actually. Let's go to so trusty old JCM 800. So this button here will toggle between snapshot mode and stomp mode. So it's currently in stomp mode. I can switch to snapshot mode here. Although the way I've got mine set up is along the bottom row here, and this is what I normally do, I have 4 snapshots, and along the top I have 4 effects that I can switch on and off within whichever snapshot I'm in. You can set it to be 8 snapshots if you want, or you can just have it in stomp box mode where you just have access to 8 different effects blocks. But this is my default. This is normally what I have. So what is a snapshot? You'll hear many people describe a snapshot, at least with regards to the Helix, as a preset within a preset, which is a reasonably accurate way of describing it. So what I've done here, and I'll go into more detail on that in a sec, my first snapshot, this is my standard layout: a clean, pushed sound, crunchy sound, and a solo sound. And what this is essentially imagine having the same amp setup. So I've got my JCM800 amp, and what the clean snapshot is I've dialed the settings in so that it sounds clean. The pushed one is I've dialed the settings in to be slightly pushed using the same amp. So it's not a separate preset, it's the same preset. So imagine you could, if you were doing it live and you wanted to go from a clean sound to a pushed sound, and you need to redial your amp to make it slightly pushed. So that's essentially what a snapshot is. It's taking the same gear you've got, virtual gear obviously, and redialing it within the same preset. So rather than having to kind of create another preset with, you know, a slightly louder volume because you wanted to have a solo boost, then you can just have it all within the same preset and just adjust the snapshots independently. The crunch will be even more different sound with more gain. And I think I've also got, oh no, I haven't. I thought I might have had like a Tube Screamer or a Boss OD1 block activated, but I don't. Yeah, so it's literally all just done from changing the amp setting. Solo, you can hear that's louder, and that's all within the same kind of amp settings. You can also add effects to each snapshot as well. And what I've done is these banks here. These banks obviously hold the different presets I've got. So that was my JCM800 preset. I can go to my Deluxe Reverb preset, and I've got something similar on here. So this has clearly been thought out by people who play on stage, because the idea of having this is not only having snapshots in the first place, but being able to mix snapshots with your pedals here. So let's choose one. Let's go back to the JCM800. So I might want to add some compression. I might have a clean sound, and might want to add some compression, but not on every song. So I'll have it along the top. Maybe I want to add some delay. And maybe I'm going to jump to the bridge section. I'm going to go to my pushed sound. And notice how it turns these off. And back to the first section. And when I go back to the clean, it will turn these back on again. And I can turn these off, so it kind of remembers that I've switched them on, unless I go out. So if I switch these back on again, if I go out to a different bank and come back again, back to my JCM800, it just reset to however it was saved. If I want to have maybe on solo, I might want to have the delay on. But maybe for the verse section, I might just want these on. Into the solo. clean. So the use of snapshots and the way that they've implemented it here in terms of the layout of being able to mix stomp box and snapshot mode together. And you can also have your snapshots along the top if you want, and your stomp boxes along the bottom if you want. So it's quite versatile in the way you can lay it out. But that is a great feature for when you're using this live, and it's one that I use all the time. Speaking of another feature I use all the time, let's move on to the next thing I love about the Helix, which is pedal edit mode. And if you've seen any of my recent videos on the Helix, you'll know that I use this feature a lot. I used it so much over the summer. It's a really busy summer for me in terms of gigging, and I overhauled all the patches I used, created some new ones for some new bands I was playing in, and it has become something that I use all the time. Once everything gets settled, maybe I'll use it less, but definitely in the early days of creating patches, when you want to get your levels kind of the right balance with each other, this is a great way to edit. So what is pedal edit mode, and how is it different from what we've been doing so far? So let's have a look at that. Right, so we've come back to this preset we were looking at earlier on, the PRS Archon preset, and I just used that as an example. It wasn't for any particular reason. So let's say in snapshot 1, I've got it the way I want it to sound. I've got a clean sound. I'm not going to bother labeling this just yet. Maybe snapshot 2 I want to be slightly more gained up. Maybe I want the monitor on. Let's not turn it on for the moment. Let's go to the amp. So back to this again. Switch to the amp. I want to turn the drive up a bit. So something I didn't mention earlier on about snapshots is how to edit a snapshot. So we're in snapshot 2 at the moment, and the way you can edit these without affecting the other snapshots is, so I'm going to turn the drive up. Before turning it, you want to press it in. So notice it says 6 at the moment, and it's the color red. If I push it in and start turning it, you'll notice that it changes to like white, and it's in these brackets. So let's turn that up a bit. I don't want that delay on. Let's hit my clean sound again. It's got more drive. It's a bit too loud, so I'm going to bring this channel volume down a bit again, so that it doesn't get affected by the other. So it doesn't affect the other snapshots, and it only stays with this snapshot. I'm going to press down and start turning. Turn it down in this case. So that's how I would normally edit, and then obviously save. There's a nice easy save, by the way. Just press that once, and then again, you press it once, you can rename it, and then press it again when you've renamed it. Let's just quickly do another one. Let's turn that off. This time we'll have the monitor on. I want to edit that. In fact, let's start using the. Let's say we've got that on there. And this is what I've got so far. It's got the 3 snapshots for the moment. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm happy with that sound. When I go to play on stage, I suddenly realise that the levels and the settings aren't the way I want them to be. So let's go back to snapshot 3. I want to turn that up, but I'm in the middle of playing. I don't want to necessarily bend down. Maybe I'm actually on stage performing. I don't want it to look bad. So what I can do is I'll press down this preset stomp button. It says here, hold to edit. So I'll be doing this with my feet. And it's giving me these blocks that I can edit. I want to edit the monitor. So again, I press it with my foot. And here are my parameters that I can select. The monitor's only got 3 things to change: gain, tone, level. So it's currently set on gain. If I wanted to change the level, I can press that and adjust it. Let's go back to gain. So if there were more, if there were loads more options, I can page left and right here. But I'm just going to be using the value up and value down buttons here. So gain is currently 5.5. I'm going to turn the gain up. hear the gain going up just by pressing that. I generally prefer to use these than to use the expression pedal, which you can use. And the reason is this. So if I was doing this with my foot, oh wow. So you can use the expression pedal, but I just find it's very sensitive, especially when you first engage it, and it's completely different level to what you, or completely different parameter to what you had just had, especially if you're doing volume and the volume suddenly goes really high or maybe really low. But it's there if you want, if you do prefer to use it. I'll use it now actually. So if I turn that up, I think, okay, I like that. When I'm ready, if I don't like it, I can just press the exit button. Or if I want to save it, I'll hold it down. So it's now saved. Only thing is, I do believe that once you save it like that, that will be your default snapshot when you come back into this. So if I was to just go back into it again, yeah. So it's now saved it as your first snapshot. I like to save usually the first one as my snapshot. So I have to go there, just save that again. So there's my first snapshot, second, third. And I've just edited that using my feet in pedal edit mode. So I can carry on playing while I'm editing my patches. Now, I usually find this useful where you're just kind of getting your, say, your clean, your crunch, and maybe your solo snapshots to be, the right level to each other. And also you can do this between different patches as well. So that's the great thing about pedal edit mode, is being able to edit while you're still playing. As long as the part you're playing isn't particularly complicated, as long as you're not playing like Dream Theater type stuff, then this is something that you can do while you're playing. And you might think, well, why don't you just get it right at home? You can do, and you do aim to do that, but once you're with a band, whether you're on in-ears or not, it for some reason never seems to sound the same as it does when you're at home. So this is a great way of editing while you're still playing, and it doesn't look as disruptive. Which brings us on to number 5. And these aren't in any particular order, but this is the 5th thing I love about the Helix, and that is the regular updates. So the Helix came out in 2015-16, I believe. I bought mine in 2018. It is a better product now than it was when I first bought it, and I didn't have to pay any extra for that. So, for example, let's go back to Old Faithful, JSM 800. So this feature here, the double take, was not there when the Helix first came out. So the double take is an effect that allows you to make it sound like you've double tracked your guitar. So I got to crunch, turn it. Here it is off. Here it is on. So you should get the effect that it's kind of sounded like it's been double tracked. It's in stereo, so if you're not listening in stereo, then you might not hear this. But that effect wasn't there when I first got this. The Adriatic delay, I don't believe, was there when this first came out. I'm not sure if it was there when I first bought this. So what Line 6 regularly do is release updates which have more pedals, more amp models, more features. But I think the main ones that you're probably going to be looking for are new effects, new types of reverb, new types of delay. And obviously I think one of the newer ones is have I got a preset for this one? Yes, the Princeton. So this is on one of the more recent releases, updates. I think it came out earlier this year, 2021. So this is the Fender Princeton model. So I've got slightly different here. My snapshots are clean, pushed. Let's have a listen to the pushed. Face fuzz, which is I believe the fuzz face model. And I've got my filth patch here, which is, I think it's the same as the fuzz face, but with, what did I add? I just added something to it. Let's have a listen. Yeah, I've added the clon, and I believe that's, yeah, the Elephant Man delay. So it is, as the name suggests, very filthy. I think I'd usually probably stick to the fuzz face, actually. Let me know in the comments, do you prefer just the kind of slightly cleaner fuzz face snapshot or the filthy one? But I have both if I want to. If I'm in whatever mood I'm in. Here's my clean again. Here's my pushed. And I've got an assortment of effects along the top. Maybe I want to put some tremolo on there. Maybe I want a slightly bluesy sound. I'll go to my push sound, maybe add a bit of clon. Maybe add a bit of vibe if I want. So the point is, a lot of this stuff, this amp in particular, wasn't there when the Helix came out in 2015, 2016. It is there now, and the price is probably about the same, maybe. But I didn't have to pay any extra for that. They just send them as updates. You download the new firmware update onto your Helix, and you have a bunch of new amps to play with, a bunch of new reverbs, a bunch of new delays, a bunch of new effects. And so far, there doesn't seem to be any sign of the Helix slowing down, so they can just keep adding more and more until they bring out a new version of the Helix and with something that's even more powerful. But you can see that the ethos is there. It's going to continue to get better. I mean, I'm wondering what else they could do to make it even more powerful. Maybe add some more DSP, perhaps, to allow you to, make just to. I mean, not that there's not enough DSP, but it will definitely allow you to. Not have to worry about the DSP so much. I have had some DSP issues in the past, but nothing hugely major, if that's even an expression. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that look into 5 things I love about the Helix. I generally do like the Helix. It is great. It is a great tool for the kind of gigs that I do, where usually the stage volume needs to be pretty quiet. I'm usually on in-ear monitor, so it's great for that. I mean, you can say this about the Kemper and the Axe effects and so on, and about digital technology in general. But definitely, things like the Helix, they're great for a lot of the use cases that I need to use them for. And these are 5 things that I particularly like about the Helix that I absolutely love. There are some more that I have in mind, so if you'd like to see a follow-up video, please let me know in the comments below. If there's anything about the Helix you'd like to know about, then let me know about that as well. I will hopefully be having some of my patches downloadable soon as well. I need to tweak a couple of them to be made for download. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Please like, comment, subscribe if you're into this kind of content, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.